It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Good morning, 20th of September 2019, 8 a.m. CET, 7 a.m. London, Piotr here, and this is the pre-London Open live market coverage only here on Liteforex Global YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm back after 7 days of short holiday. I really missed our meetings, so hopefully we can get back on track today. Plenty of things are going on, of course. Yeah, so we are about to go through the from the intraday perspective through some major indices. The good news is that we have another meeting later today, 2:15, some kind of the educational live trading room with focus on Canadian data. So plenty of things going on. That's my pleasure to be back, to be with you here again. Let's start with risk warning, guys. Please bear in mind trading FX on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for investors who can sustain a loss of some or all initial investment, so please do not invest the money you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Okay, so where we are right now, dollar is on the verge of the breakdown, especially with what Fed is doing, and I'm not talking about the FOMC cut, I'm talking about this repo. Yeah, 200 billion since Monday. I have to say that dollar is still looks good based on what Fed is doing, right? Probably there is no better choice. Then the pound, of course, the squeeze, very important levels on the cable. We are going to discuss this as well. Narrow range on euro dollar. Where from here on the dollar yen? So please bear with me for the next something around 30-45 minutes from now. Let's start with the calendar. Nothing extraordinary during the European hours. Then 1 p.m. CET, 12 London is a Bank of England quarterly bulletin. 2:15 CET, 1:15 London. So right after the US Open, we have FOMC member Williams speaks, and at that time our afternoon meeting will start. 2:30 CET, 1:30 p.m. London, retail sales out of the Canada. That's what we are going to try to check, and then we will discuss the Canadian dollar, and around the Europe close we have another FOMC member, Rosengren speaks. So to be honest with you, nothing extraordinary when we are talking about the calendar. Probably one tweet from the President Trump might be much more interesting than what we have on the agenda, right? And of course, the President Trump tweets are not scheduled, but it's Friday, so well, we can try to bet that there are gonna be something. So of course, it might be very good idea to try to hold President Trump tweet account open and monitor, trying to follow what is going on. Anyway, it's quiet Tokyo session, I would say, but pound, right? Let's start with cable here, and there is a stop hunt right now, and that's where I'm going to look very closely. Now, I think it's a last chance for the sellers to trying to get back into the game, all right? And anything above 26, then probably we are going to see 28 or even higher levels. But let's slowly discuss what I'm talking about here. Just 1 second. Let's make some cleanings. Let's make some cleanings here. I think it's just stop hunt, and we are over the course of the day we are going to have an opportunity to try to trade that one to the downside. Anyway, we are talking about here. We are talking about this week. Here, right? Once we broke through the low, right? That's what I'm calling the latest weakness here. So once we are going to get the close above 26, bulls might be in trouble, real trouble, right? So that's the if you are a bear, and of course probably we cannot move the market even together, right? But the real bears who can move the market, they should ask themselves if they are still bearish on the cable. So where, if not here, right? That's how I see the things. Of course, there are few certain levels would be great to try to get back into the weekly open around 2460, and that's gonna be my target in case of the failure here, right? And we are going to get back into where I will try to join the party. That's the latest weakness after the retest of the breakout of this level of the open of this week, right? As you can see. So really important levels from the pound perspective when we are talking about the higher time frame chart. So let's switch to the daily, and let's have a look what we have here. All right. So that's the old range before the huge breakdown, right? We were trying, as you can see, Wednesday, Monday high, green dotted line, right? We're trying to hold 50% of that range, right? So that's where the sellers were quite active. Yesterday squeeze, of course, partially it's because of what we've seen from the Fed side, right? With this repo, it didn't help bears. So I'm watching very carefully right now what we have here, right? So we are about to hit some stops, right? But that's where we should see some kind of the pulling back in case really the bears will step in, and we will see what's going to happen. So what I'm going to watch particularly, right? I'm gonna to watch the market behavior here from the lower time frame perspective, because I know that higher time frame I have some possible supply zone here, right? So I also checked how the pound behaved lately, right? So look, guys, that's not going to be surprise for you. Well, that's even more interesting right now, isn't it? That's even more interesting right now. Okay, but it's not the reason for me yet to try to sell it. Let's have a look what we have on a lower time frame. And for sure yesterday high been taken out, right? So from some kind of the conservative perspective, right, the move back and close, for example, on this 15-minute chart, move back, so failure here around the high, right, and move back below yesterday high, 2 consecutive closes on this 15-minute chart, for example, right, and the retest of this bottom of that breakout candle, right? That could be some kind of the possibility to try to join the party from the short side. Before we will go further, quickly let's discuss what might be the target. So let's get back to the early chart. The bottom of that possible channel is also equal to the weekly open, and that could be the possible target. I wouldn't say we are going to see that today, so but in that case I would be very careful trying to stay over the weekend with the cable short, right? There are going to be the possibility, if I'm correct here, I do believe there's going to be the possibility to try to reopen cable eventually after the weekend. Of course, some kind of the negative news might bring the some kind of the gap to the downside on the pound, but we will see. Anyway, talking about the cable, we are within the possible supply zone. Very curious where we are going to be around the top of the hour, around the London Open. Let's switch lower here. So that's where some failed, in my opinion, here, right? Somewhere for sure trying to trade the failure of this breakout already towards the end of the Tokyo session. All right, so there are some failures. So now I'm very interesting what's going to happen here. And finally, switching lower, what I would like to see here, right? What I would like to see here, and the most aggressive approach from my side is going to be, so we know where we are, right here. And the most aggressive approach from my side, step by step, I'm going to explain right now. I'm going to take, look guys, that's the Tokyo high break, am I right? Yes, I am. That's the Tokyo high break here. And that's done with one candle. As of now, there is no continuation. The next thing is high, lower high. We trying, we didn't confirm that yet, trying to create another lower high. But for me, the aggressive entry is going to be like this. I want to see some kind of the aggressive move back below that Tokyo high, right? All right, then I want to see some kind of the retest. Okay, my stop is going to be above this high, and I want to see continuation to the downside. As I mentioned about the possible targets, right? But of course, I'm going to monitor very carefully what is going on. I'm going to monitor the developments very carefully and for example, Monday high, right? Monday high, this green dotted line over here, it might be treated as a, you know, liquidity pool below today's Tokyo low, right? So we might retest, just retest levels around 25.20, 25.10, and the bulls may want to continue the party. It's gonna be also half of this distance of the channel, rising channel, right? So yes, I would like to see 24.70, 24.60, but I do understand that I might be totally wrong, and you know, we might try to make the turnaround around 25.10. So in case of something, you know, there's some kind of the positive developments for the bulls are going to happen here, no doubt I'm going to cut at least half, or you know, it depends what's going to happen here. All right, but it's still a long way for me to jump into the short. You know, market is trying to create the flag. Looks like they may want to continue higher from here. All right, looks like they may want to try to continue higher. Even more, I would be very careful here. Where is this my, well, that's, there you go. I would be, guys, very careful here. I wouldn't go, don't try to go with the break of this yellow level, all right? Don't try to go too aggressive. Why? Because what we might see here, let me try to visualize for you that some kind of the attempt to break below that, you are going to try to join the party very, very aggressively. Oh yeah, we are going back, so let's try. But then towards the end of that particular 1 minute candle, we are going to get something like this, right? Okay, you want to see the clean break, at some point retest, right? At least that's what I want to see here on the cable. Okay, so that's how I see the cable from the short-term perspective, based on the higher time frame. Again, that's the weekly chart. That's what we are testing here. And again, the bears should ask themselves, of course, the big bears, where if not here? Okay, but because I cannot move the market, I will try to, what happened here? Because I cannot move the market, I will try to adapt to the conditions, right? If you are a bull, so then you know the drill. That's what we discussed, that I'm going to actively monitor what's going to happen around 25.20, around the Monday high overall, right? Because that's where the some late bulls may try to join the party, right? So that's what you are going to watch at the very beginning, and then eventually weekly open, bottom of the channel, as a second opportunity to try to join the party from the long side, right? But that's based on the intraday perspective. Higher time frame, we are testing supply. I would be very careful, especially ahead of the weekend. Some guys who are very into that pound longs from the beginning of the week, they may want to clean the books ahead of the weekend. So you know, it might happen. So you know, don't be in rush if you are a bull. So here from the pound perspective, we discuss both bulls and bears possible scenarios. Hopefully you enjoy it. There is nothing extraordinary when we are talking about the option market. So let's leave it cable here for now. Let's watch the developments ahead of the London Open. Now, well, because we touched the options market, so let's switch to the euro dollar. It's very narrow, right? But give me a second, a little bit of the coffee. Very narrow, and plenty of options will expire. So the option guys might be very active over the course of the day. So let's have a look where we are on the euro dollar. Right now, currently we are trading something close to 10.55, right? We are trading close to 10.55. So let's start from the lower levels. 110.20, we have 500 millions, but 110 we have 2.6 billion. So we know that this psychological level, yeah, might work as a magnet, right? Might work as a magnet. We do have at current level at 1050, we do have 1.1 billion, right? So here, you know, if they were supposed to hedge something, probably they did it. And finally, 11, we have 1.8 billion. So let's try to visualize the possible, one of the possible scenarios, because there is unlimited possible scenarios, right? But let's try to take into the consideration what we discussed. We have again 110, 2.6 billion, right? 1050 current level 1.1 and 111 1.8 billion. So let's try to imagine that the market is trying to retest levels close to the weekly open, right? In that case, blue dotted line, and here we are talking about 1073, right? It might be also, look, yesterday, Wednesday, Tuesday, right? That's where market had a problem. So we know right now, currently, we know where there is some kind of the liquidity pools above those highs, right? So I'm not gonna be surprised market will try to spike towards 111, towards the option expiration levels, right? Here around during the London session, all right? And we might see some kind of the fading around 111 based on the, let's say, based on options, and attempt to move back towards 110 where we have 2.6 billion, right? Sounds good. So what's especially that if we are talking about this daily top of the channel, that could be the case, guys. 11 10 probably somewhere here. So well, that could be the solution, right, for sellers. So trying to also watch the option market. That what we might eventually see. Of course, at the same time, we might try to take the opposite approach, right? That from here, market will start to retest 110 and check how strong the defend on the 110 is going to be eventually, right? So that could be the case. Why I've started with the short side, right? That the first is attempt to rally to 111, then faded and going back to close to 110. If that's the case, I took into the consideration Monday, Tuesday price action. So it was strong rejection, retest. Needs to see some kind of the stop hunt and rejection. Of course, we have to have in the back of our head what the Fed is doing with the repo, and you know, we might see some kind of the That's what I'm the most worried about. We might see some kind of the capitulation towards the weekly close, right? Because the higher time frame perspective here is very, very important. That's what I'm gonna to show you within the second. So let's switch on this euro dollar a little bit lower. Let's have a look where we are here, and that's what I've been talking about in case of the retest of 111, right? So from that perspective, we have nice possible over under here. So let me explain you what I'm talking about and how we can try to take this stop hand, take the advantage of that one in case we see that, right? So that's what I'm talking about, right? The equal move compared to what we've seen on Tuesday, okay? So towards 111. And then eventually rejection and trying to look for liquidity lower. Now, what I mean by eventually by some kind of the capitulation, you know, it might be the last moment if, you know, the bulls finally, some big bulls who can move the market, finally will say, okay, we cannot hold some certain levels towards the end of the week. Let's try to evacuate as soon as we can, especially that. Let's have a look what we have here on the dollar Chinese yuan. I've been thinking that after the break we are going to be able to get back above this 710, right? But it looks like because of this a little bit of the upper shadow is rejection is going on. So of course we stopped where we expect we might see the stop of this move to the downside, but you know, we haven't feel the 723, 725. So I don't like this price action we have here on the Chinese yuan, right? Only daily close around the yesterday open might create some opportunity, but look, it just breakdown, rally back, retest of the supply, rejection, right? So think we have to get back and watch dollar Chinese yuan, what kind of the developments are going on here, because, and now that's what I'm gonna to show you from the dollar index perspective, where we are and where is a big danger. So bear with me for a second. And that's what I'm talking about, right? That's the weekly chart of the dollar index, and where is the big danger, right? When we are talking about these highs, right, over here. So 3 weeks ago, over different way, 3 weeks ago, over here, right, we had the break, and within the latest price action, that was the highest close, right? Then next week, higher high, but rejected. So right now, the bottom of that candle here, that's the key psychological level. So something close to 97.50, 97.25, it's very, very important in my opinion. In case of the another upper shadow, right, one upper shadow 2 weeks ago, another upper shadow week ago, if we are going, and you know, markets show that trying to rebound, but if we are going to have something like this, if dollar is not gonna be able to rebound over the course of the day, the worst case scenario is attempt from the dollar bulls to push dollar higher during the European session and failure at some point over the course of US session, right? Especially after the Europe close. What I'm talking about? Well, you know, we might see the dollar will try to get back a little bit higher, right? Let's say we'll try to get back above 98 during the European session, right? But then some kind of the failure, all right? And we might try to get back towards the weekly open. And if that's gonna to be around the Europe close, so you can imagine that the US guys may try to, you know, seeing that what is going on, may try to make them sell of the dollar and giving up here 97.50, 97.25 based on the weekly close, and we might see some bigger dollar sell-off even towards 90, 96, 96.50, right? But you know, still plenty of time for both bulls and bears. As long as we are above, there is still a chance for dollar bulls. As I mentioned at the very beginning, you know, I'm still, based on Fed did and where dollar is, it's you know, it's still positive for dollar bulls, but wait and see here from the higher time frame perspective. But short term, we discussed the possibilities, so we know where we are from the euro dollar perspective as well as the cable perspective. So let's get back to the platform. Let's get back to the platform, so, and discuss another one, discuss dollar yen. We agreed when we were previously talking that in case of the break of that range, we may try to double that range, right? And that's what we did it lately, right? We taking into the consideration price action from the very beginning of August, right? That's some close to 50%, 61% of that range. From that particular day, there is a rejection. We are moving back below 108 currently. And here, let's get back to the option market. What we have, 108, we have 1.1 billion, and we have a almost 2 billions or above 2 billions between 107.50, 107.25, right? Now, why 107.50, 107.25 might be that important that we have 2 billion in option expiration? So we know that after the moving back, right, into the old range, we fulfill the target right now. We done here. Okay, so what I'm going to watch, you know, on one side, I do think that what all those central banks are doing right now at some point are gonna to, you know, scare the market. It didn't yet, but I think it might come rather sooner than later. You know, I'm not trying to create some kind of the let's take it from the crypto market. I'm not trying to create any kind of the food here, and I'm I'm not saying about the whoa, big crash is coming. What I'm saying that simply, of course, it might turn into the snowball, but anyway, what they are doing, it might be a little bit of the scary, especially this repo, Fed repo action since Monday. You know, liquidity shortage, and anyway, it was positive from the stocks perspective. So we saw this rally. I've been seller as we discussed. I've been stopped out on this Nasdaq. I think once we are going to get back below 7,800, I will try again. We still the current market move might be treated as a, you know, fall retest of this line where the highs are connected, stop hunt, retest of the lines, and from here. But anyway, the lately tone is positive, right? Trying to compare FOMC and Bank of Japan might be positive. So going back to the dollar yen, why this 107.50, 107.25 from the option market perspective? Why we have 2 billion here? In my opinion, there are two things. It's 107.50 is a level around the weekly open, and then 107.25 it might be this over under the zone of right below, right? So yeah, if we are going to see drop on the dollar yen towards 107.50.25, I'm going to look very closely from the intraday perspective, right? Because it might be either over under, right here around the weekly open, okay, or some kind of the stop hunt. So if I'm not gonna see the positive price action around weekly open, and I'm gonna be either stopped out or there is going to be the Niagara Falls, I'm not gonna be in, then I'm gonna to look for this box here, where the middle of that box is 107.25, and we in the middle of that box we also have on this hourly chart some kind of the demand. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna to look for on the dollar yen from the long intraday long perspective. And from the intraday short perspective, right? From the intraday short perspective, here 108, right? So in case we are going to try to take out Tokyo high, today's Tokyo high, and failure, right? So that's what I'm talking about. Okay, in case of the failure around 1010, 1020, okay, I may try to take the advantage of that from the intraday perspective, especially if we are going to see in the mid of the European session getting closer to the US Open, and if we are going to fail here, it might be some kind of the attempt to sell off, and then I will try to take the advantage of that and trying to go towards 107.60, 107.50, okay? And the last one is the Nasdaq. As I mentioned, positive developments. Let's have a look at how the market will try to, what's gonna be the market take away from that Fed action. And here, you know, if you are a bear, then you are looking for the price action around the most recent highs. I'm talking about the high from the 19th of September, as well as the high from the 12th of September, around this line, top of the line, where the tops are connected, okay? And that's the one thing. And if you are a bull, of course, the top of the previous alt range here, if we are talking about the alt range, right? So the top of that range been tested 3 times already, and if we fail here, half of that range, mid of that range as a next possible buying opportunity, but then you wanna see strong lower shadow. of course, in relation to the US indices, we are going to have a possibility to discuss a bit during our afternoon meeting. It's Friday. It's an unusual meeting this afternoon. It's you know, we will see if the market is moving or not, and then we will decide how long we are going to stay. Anyway, it was my pleasure to be back and be with you here this morning, guys. Don't be trapped. Don't be trapped here. And 2:15 p.m. CT, 1:15 p.m. London. You are more than welcome to join me for the afternoon meeting. See you around, guys. Thank you and goodbye.